Oh no, did you just hear a crash? Hope it wasn't the market. Hey all, I'm Aimee Derylo, Ask Aimee for Downers Grove area and DuPage County real estate. Have you been listening to the economic news lately? There sure has been a lot of press about how the housing market is about to crash. And given how raw we all still are from back in 2008, that kind of talk is super scary. But are we really expecting a housing crash? I really don't think so. Let me explain what makes me think that. The headlines that have us all spooked are published by the media to generate clicks, watches, listens, etc. And that means the more spectacular and dramatic they can make that headline, the better. But guess what? We have page after page after page of data showing several things that are actually a big deal when it comes to predicting a crash. First, real estate is local. Don't ever forget that. Just because the Seattle housing market is screeching their brakes doesn't mean we are. In fact, we never got as ridiculously superheated as some of the other headline making markets around the country. So we just really don't have the same market corrections that need to be made. I'll give you an example. Downers Grove median market values appreciated by 12.9% in 2021. That's a huge number relative to the 3.8% that's an average year. So during that same time, San Diego appreciated by 18.6%, and Snohomish County in Seattle went up 23.6%. So, not having those sorts of peaks also means we don't need as big of a slowdown to get back to normal. Secondly, housing market strength and price growth really boils down to the law of supply and demand. Now, in our local markets, supply continues to be excessively low and demand's still been present. So, if you follow my Monday Market Minute reports on YouTube, I'm sure you've been seeing me post local months supply of inventory numbers that are like under 2 months. Some of the markets are even under 1 month still. Now, for context, a normal market that's balanced between buyers and sellers is typically 5 to 6 months of inventory. I'm watching very carefully how demand is impacted with mortgage rates rising into the sixes. But so far, I haven't been surprised by anything crazy. Many are just accepting this mantra of marry the house, date the rate, and are deciding to move forward with their purchases, but just refinance once rates drop a bit. Okay, and the third reason I don't think we're heading for a crash, mortgage underwriting standards are tough, but in a good way. Our lending environment is so much better now than it was leading up to the housing crash of 2008. Why does this make a difference in whether the housing market crashes or not? Because when the housing bubble burst, we saw this tsunami of distressed and foreclosed homes that were flooding the housing markets. And if you remember what I said about the markets following the law of supply and demand, what do you think happens when a virtual flood of supply comes to market? That's right, prices plummet. But due in large part to stricter lending standards, US households today own, wait for it, $29 trillion in equity now. Yeah, that's trillion with a T. So if those people were to find themselves in a bad situation, maybe someone loses a job or there's a death in the family, they would not lose their home to foreclosure. They would simply sell it in our low inventory market and take their equity to move on with life. So when I look at the statistics and the fundamentals of our local real estate markets, I'm not in the camp of calling for a crash. The only crash I predict is the crash of that wall coming down. You know, the one that's been preventing would-be home buyers from purchasing a home they want, with more inventory coming to market and prices that are leveling out a bit. That one is definitely coming down. So have questions you'd like to hear discussed on a future show? Text me, call me, DM me. You know what to do. Just reach out and ask Aimee.